काम क्रोध मोह बस प्राणी हरि मूर्ति बिसराए हरि मूर्ति बिसराए साधो रचना राम बनाए रचना राम बनाए झूठा तन साचा करि मान्यो झूठा तन साचा करि मान्यो जो सुपना रहनाए जो सुपना रहनाए साधो रचना राम बनाए रचना राम बनाए जो दिसे सो सगल विनाश जो दिसे सो सगल विनाश जो बादर की छाए जो बादर की छाए साधो 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 रचना राम बनाए रचना राम बनाए जन नानक जग जान्यो मिथ्या जन नानक जन नानक जन नानक जन नानक जग जान्यो मिथ्या रहो राम सरनाए रहो राम सरनाए साधो रचना राम बनाए रचना राम बनाए बनाए रचना राम बनाए बनाए रचना राम बनाए
Hari Om. Let us thank Srimoy Ghosh ji for today's bhajan offering. Quick announcements. A phone has been found. Anyone who wishes to claim it may please go to the information desk. I'll pass it on there. Sharing this beautiful collection of quotes. It's got 4 booklets and quotes of Pujya Guruji Swami Tejomayanand ji titled Make Impossible Possible. Very interesting, very simple, very profound. So do take a look at these. Also wanted to share about 2 forthcoming events. One is by Sri Himanshu Nanda, who is a disciple of Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasya ji. It's a classical, Hindustani classical flute recital on 11th of March at from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at this very center. All are welcome. Also, we have Sri Ram Katha by Swami Durgeshanandji, who is the Acharya at our Durga Center, from 27th March to 4th April 2017, from 3 to 7 p.m. at our center in Noida. For further details, please get information from the information desk. I now hand over to Swami Prakarshanandji.
Hari Om. Again, once more, and for the last day, welcome to this spiritual announcement today. As we keep listening to the Vedanta and keep studying the Vedanta text, so we have done an elaborate study, and the lectures were nicely recorded. The first one is Tattva Bodh, that which we are releasing today, and what sadhana we can do after knowing the right Vedantic basic principles, that is called as Sadhana Panchakam. So both the CDs we are releasing today, Sadhana Panchakam as well as Tattva Bodh. And meditation on Gayatri Mantra. How we can chant Gayatri Mantra is also beautifully recorded here. And how to use this Gayatri Mantra for our meditation, this also is beautifully explained in this CD. So I have a great pleasure, and I'm so happy to offer it at the feet of Gurudev. Tattva Bodh, the CD which is available now today onwards. Second one, Sadhana Panchakam, which is also available on the counter. And the third one, the Gayatri Mantra. So please look at it and go through it. Definitely it will be helpful to all the seekers of the path of the truth. As we will wait for the Swamiji, so I'll chant the name of Lord and we will welcome Swamiji for the today's concluding session. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Om Har Har Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadev. We'll do the Aarti. Om na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kuto yamagnihi tameva bhantamanubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Boli Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki. Give it to Swamiji first. Yeah, now you can show it to everyone. Please, before we begin the today's discourses, check your cell phones and put them on the off mode. Please. Now over to Swamiji for the concluding session of today.
Please sit straight. Close your eyes gently. Thank you. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapya Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Each one of us may appear to be different. Each one's seeking may sound different. That which appeals to each one may be different. But the common factor is knowingly, unknowingly, we all are seeking the one and the same. Ramana Maharshi has pointed out how all the four paths, depending on the four different types of people, those who are active, those who are physical, those who are emotional, and those who are intellectual. The four different paths, Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. And even though the sadhanas, the practices, the starting approach may be from a different direction or a different equipment, finally, all of them are meant to achieve the single-pointedness of mind. The purity means an unagitated mind, and such a contemplative mind, through knowledge of the truth or reality, when it abides in the truth, abides in the self, abides in the heart, the very core, then one attains whatever we had set out to attain, whether materially or even spiritually, or spiritually and also materially. It appears we want different things. Even our approach to spirituality is from different areas, wanting different things. If you ask someone say, I'm practicing meditation because I want peace. Other will say, I want happiness. Other says, I want moksha. Other says, I don't want moksha. I don't want not to be born. I want to be born again. But I want success. All these different notions that we carry. Somebody will say, what is this moksha? I want darshan of my sweet Lord. Ramana Maharshi points out whether it is Karma Yoga, Bhakti, or Ashtanga Yoga, whether it is worship of the Almighty Lord, whether it is the service of the world dedicated to the Lord, or whether it's the withdrawal of our mind to concentrate on the one, or it's the path of direct inquiry as to what is the mind, and who am I? All of them lead to this one final vision of truth. Yet if someone says, I want Ishwar Darshan, I want to see the Lord, the God, the creator of the universe, then what do you want to see? The form of the Lord? Or you want to meet the Lord in essence? Even in this world, your relationship with someone is with the form. If it is with the form, when the form is separated from you, or when a person dies, you will be miserable. If it from the emotional standpoint, like a mother, even if a child is sent far away to study for the good of the child, she still remains in love with the child. The physical difference does not reduce a physical distance. Unlike those who have only bodily love, the physical distance will affect the love. But those who have intellectual ideals, however far and distant might be the source of that knowledge, however far back in the past may be that hero or that ideal or that heroine, you still remain connected. And if the link with the other is from the standpoint of the self, that we are not separate, it's not you or me, it's us, it's one. That eternal connection, that eternal love, that eternal relationship can never come to an end, whether it is the distance of the gopis from Krishna, whether it's the indifference that Meera feels of Krishna, it is the striving and struggle of a Dhruva. None of this affects, because the connection is from the self to the self, from the soul or the spirit to the spirit. Therefore, even in our worldly love, we are seeking for that perfect love. And they are looking out for that perfect man. Doesn't exist. Because perfection for us means having that person do everything the way we like or the way we want. And the funny thing is, we don't even know what we want. And therefore, we find no satisfaction. However, where there is love, love makes everything perfect. And about yourself, do you ever think that there's any imperfection in you? Because I am always perfect. And if I see myself in the other, in that love, everyone is as they are perfect. Yeah. In nature, whether it's a gentle flower blooming or a thorny bush, whether it is a gentle, kind person or a harsh and rude person, and sometimes a rude awakening helps. Everything in nature is perfect as it is, and our love and acceptance of it makes everything perfect. Because Purnamadaha Purnam Idam. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. From the infinite, from the full, from the perfect has come this universe. Everything is perfect where it is. So whether you are seeking perfection or you are seeking that supreme love, Ramana Maharshi points out, ask yourself, in love, what are you seeking? In perfection, what are you seeking? Somebody say, "Hey, all this is, not interested. I want simple to end my sorrow, and I want to be happy." In search of God also, what are we searching? The form of the Lord? Just the grace of the Lord? Or we want to know the Lord and be with the Lord Himself? And therefore Ramana Maharshi says, Veshahanatah Swatma Darshana. Swatma Darshanam takes place when you give up your identification. You cannot give up your equipment, you'll die. When you give up your identification with your equipments, when the individuality is dissolved, the totality also is dissolved. And what remains is the same existence consciousness. Just as when the wave gives up its identification with a limited form and identifies with the water, recognize that there is no vast ocean other than the same water. The individual, the finite and the unlimited, or the vastness rather, not unlimited, the vastness are only according to the equipment, not in essence. And therefore, when it is said that God is found within, God is found in your heart, don't think that there's this little doll sitting in your heart. In the very core of your personality, that which is your very essential being, when you discover that, you have discovered the substratum, the cause, the one essence of the entire universe. And therefore, Isha Darshanam Swatma Rupatah. That even Ishwar Darshan takes place when Atma Darshan takes place. Now, in different ways. Now, when you say Atma Darshan, we think that there is an Atma, and some say Atma is a small little light here or here. These are props given for meditation by our rishis, nothing new. For developing our concentration. But to see that the Atma is some light, and that light is here. And only in Indian films you will see. Old films, new films, so nobody has any Atma anyway. But in old films you will see, when we were kids you would see that movie, that when a person dies, suddenly, and the editing is so bad that you can also see the wax along with the flame. Because Indian Atmas come with a source of light, that is the wax also. And then this light goes on. And then it pops out of the body, goes round the body, and zwing, it flies off. It seems that this Atma lights up only when you die. So people have got this notion, Atma is some light. When I was meditating, and my guru hit me on my head and there was light. Even I'll give you a box on your nose, you will see light anyway. Squint your eyes also, you will see light. That light is not what is called the light of lights. The light is just symbolical of that which illumines everything, and that is the consciousness. The ultimate knower, seer, witness. So when we say what is Atma Darshan, we are still thinking that there is something which is really great in me, which is the Atma, and I am going to see it. I is called as Atma, And I am the seer which never becomes the seen. Therefore, what is this Atma Darshan? We hear this word Atma Darshan. Oh, somebody says, you know what? I have knowledge, but I do not have abidance, nishtha in that knowledge. Such statements you will hear. Ramana Maharshi takes up all these statements and in clarification of it, again shoots us into the inquiry by which we come to discover the true nature of our self. So now he says in this verse, 26th verse in your book,
Atma samsthiti swatma darshanam.
Atma samsthiti swatma darshanam.
Atma nirdvayat atma nishtata.
Atma nirdvayat atma nishtata.
see, the seeing of the seer or the vision of the self is not like we see through our eyes. When I say that I saw that person, someone other than me, through my eyes I can see. But with my eyes, do I see myself? Or see my eyes? With your eyes, you cannot see your eyes. Have you seen your eyes? You'll say in the mirror. In the mirror, you're seeing your reflection of the eyes. But the fact that I can see, I know I have the eyes. And therefore, Ramana Maharshi says, Atma Samsthiti. Through self-inquiry, when I recognize and being the self. This is a cliche also used nowadays. No? Seeing the self is being the self. So, Atma Samsthiti, abidance in the self. Swatma Darshanam means being the self. At the moment, I'm not being myself. Identified with the body, I'm being something limited other than my infinite self. So being myself itself is Swatma Darshanam. Being is seeing in this spiritual world. There's no such thing that suddenly some Atma is going to appear. It's I discover that I am the infinite Atma, and knowing, being, is seeing the Atma. Why? Because Atma nirdvayat. Atma itself being non-dual, with no parts. Otherwise, you might even think that one part of the Atma is seeing another part of the Atma. Like one part of my body, the eyes see my hand. But Atma nirdvayat. Since in the infinite Atma, there are no two Atmas, there are no two seers. Therefore, Atma nirdvayat, Atma nishtata. And therefore, it being the non-dual, the abidance in the self alone is the vision of the self. And that alone is known as Atma Nishtha. Firm abidance in your own true nature. So whether you call abidance, vision of truth, it is one and the same. But here indicating why one and the same? Because there is no two Atmas. There is not one part seeing the other part. And he continues to say now,
ज्ञान वर्जिता ज्ञानहीन चेत
ज्ञान वर्जिता ज्ञानहीन चेत
ज्ञानमस्ति किं ज्ञातुमन्तरम्
ज्ञानमस्ति किं ज्ञातुमन्तरम्.
Now, when we were using the word darshan, sight, why do we use that word that you will have Atma darshan, Bhagavad darshan? When we say these things, because for us, seeing is believing. When I've seen something, we feel that I have recognized it, I have found it. That's why this word darshan is used. But not in the sense that we understand that you have a vision separate from you. In the same way, we are using this word knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Even in our interaction with the world, the knowledge that we have is that there is a knower, there is an object to be known, and the connection between the two, the knowing, takes place when the means of knowledge is operational. So, there also these three are there: the knower, the knowing, and the known. The subject, the object, and the experience. But this knowing is very unique. He says, Jnana varjita ajnanahina chet. I'm breaking it up. Jnanamasti kim jnatumantaram. He says, Jnana, and you have to understand what he means here. Jnana vritti varjita. In the morning and the evening sessions, I pointed out when I said drishyavaritam, chitvam atmanaha, that what does knowledge even of the Atma do? It doesn't produce the Atma. It does not objectify the Atma. And why it is essential to know? Because we are saying, we'll hear also, I heard from my Guru. I read the scriptures, not some ordinary scripture, Upanishads itself. I heard from my Guru. I know it, but I have not realized it. All you students of Vedanta, common thing, is it not? That I know it, but I don't see it. I don't realize it. And therefore in Kena Upanishad, the whole Upanishad is to point out to us what is this knowledge and how this knowledge is very different from our objective knowledge. Where this knower, known and knowing is there. But we have to even know about the Atma through the right means of knowledge, which is the words of many realized masters which come in the scriptures, and they are only authentic scriptures. And those scriptures also, those words, that language, what are we going to understand? Where it comes through a teacher who knows, and with whom we are tuned up with. And such a compassionate teacher points out to us again and again in different methods. If you read Kathopanishad, you see here how the same indicator is given, but in so many different ways, to make us understand what is the nature of this knowledge. It is not by which you come to know an object called as Atma. What does knowledge do? Knowledge moves the ignorance, the false identification we have due to that ignorance. And when that knowledge removes the ignorance, that thought that this Satchidananda Atma I am, that thought cannot objectify the infinite. And since it has got no other object, it dissolves. And when jnana vritti varjita, devoid of even this knowledge, aham brahmasmi, this thought. And I gave you the example on the day of meditation that when you want to sleep with the thought of sleep, wanting sleep, knowing the glory of sleep, 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 you drop all other thoughts. But as long as you are thinking sleep, 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 you are not experiencing sleep. But when there is no other thought other than sleep, that sleep thought also falls off and you melt into sleep. Therefore, even this knowledge, aham brahmasmi, soham, when even that thought dissolves and there is no more any ignorance, because the pure chit or consciousness is devoid of thoughts of ignorance as well as thoughts of knowledge. For it is the witness of both the thoughts. Therefore, one questions, how will I then know this Atma? Where even the last traces of thought and intellect is dissolved. Then by what can I know this Atma? Maybe there is some consciousness that knows this consciousness. So Ramana Maharshi says, Jnanam asti kim gyatum antaram. Who else is the knower to know the knower itself? Don't get confused. The language is so magical, no doubt fascinating, and somewhere where you lose the link of thought and you say, oh, this is very difficult. Do you require another torch to illumine the sun? Gurudev once told us one beautiful story to illustrate this point. And he used to dramatize his stories very well. And these are experiences some of you may have had. A husband and wife come back from a night show movie. And when they are coming from that night show movie after, the late night bar also, let's say, they come, and as always, she is more perceptive than him. She realizes that the light is not on. He prefers the light off. She realizes that the patio light is not on. And the inside light which she keeps it on is also not on. She says, there is no light inside. He said, we must have forgot to switch it off. She said, no, but I switched it on. Somebody must have switched it off. The servants must have switched it off before they left. She says, no, you check out. When he goes to the patio switch and puts on the light, there is no light. She says, there must be a thief inside. There must be a thief inside. There must be a thief inside. He said, we can't hear anything. She said, I'm not going in. I'm not going in. He says, don't worry. I will go. I will find out the switchboard, which he doesn't know where it is. So he goes into his bedroom to find the torch. It's pitch dark. And when he goes to find the torch, as usual, he never knows where anything is kept in the house. You agree or not? Even where his ties are, where his shoes are, he doesn't know. Now where is the torch? And he yells out, where is the torch? In the drawer. Which drawer? Left or right? That never ask a woman. Yeah. Because she only knows her right and her left. But left and right from different directions. And this is not something that is, a defect. It is a manufacturing sophistication. Yeah. It's scientifically proven, right? Yeah. It is said, there's a book also, Why Men Don't Listen and Women Can't Read Maps. By the way, these are all additional knowledges, which we can understand. This is knowledge without knowledge is very difficult to understand. No? At least something we should enjoy. So Gurudev would bring this story in and say different other knowledge bits on how to deal with your marriage life also. That it's not only your problem. Everyone has the same problems. Right or left? Right. Acha, right or left? Left. Left drawer. Yes, right. Now all this shouting is going on. Neighbors are hearing. Did you find it? He says, how will I find it? It's dark. She said, but where are you? He said, I can't see myself also because it is dark. Yeah. To know myself even in darkness. Do I say, I need a torch? How do I know if I am there or not? She's shouting, are you there? I don't know. I have not found the torch. To know that I am, I don't require any other instrument or any other knower to tell me that I am. It is self-evident. Only this I am is mixed up with I am this. So I has become this. Aham has become idam. And that this we have to remove. But I am is self-evident. I don't need any other instrument to see it. And if you see that there is another knower knowing the Atma, then if that knower is consciousness, Atma will become inert. Then you say, who's the knower of that? Yeah. That ultimate knower who requires no other knower to know it is what is called as the Atma. And therefore, even when the instruments of knowledge, such as the intellect, in the seat of meditation or in self-inquiry, when the last thought has ended, that I am is self-evident. And the best you can say, the knower knows the knower by himself. That's the best we can say. So is there other knower? To know the self. It is being the self alone is knowing the self. Now, somebody say, oh, this is all confusing. No? Very difficult. I came here to end my sorrow and be happy. And the first day you said also, we are here to be happy. And now you made me think so much. And thinking is sheer misery. No, we are not telling you to think. We are telling you to stop thinking. But how will I do that? That's very difficult. All our life we have lived without thinking only. Yeah. So if you want to think, then think rightly. And if you don't want to think, then you're doing that anyway. If you say that I want happiness, I want enjoyment, This all, knowing the self, that there is one consciousness and there is nothing other than it. Today also somebody asked me that question. Sounds very boring. I want to be happy. What is this, self-inquiry? At least I hear that if I'm with God and there I can play the harp for Him, or, I can dance with Him, there's some enjoyment. Here was Atma alone is. I alone am. Tell me one thing. As much as you may be enjoying in a crowd, when do you enjoy yourself the most? Tell me. Finally, when you are alone. I don't say lonely. Lonely, there's a want of other. When you are alone. Why? Because you yourself are the source of bliss and happiness. And therefore, Ramana Maharshi says, Kim Swarupami.
Kim Swarupami Tyatmadarshane.
Kim Swarupami Tyatmadarshane.
Avyaya Bhava Purnachit Sukham.
Avyaya Bhava Purnachit Sukham.
Even the happiness that we all are helplessly seeking, as Gurudev say, from the womb to the tomb. Whatever background we may come from, whether it's a worm or whether it is even the highest heavenly denizens. All of us, one thing is common, that in whatever we do, whatever we seek, whatever we achieve, whatever we know, we want to be happy. Is it or is it not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. I mean, you don't have to accept everything I say. Because this is a path of inquiry. And our Gurudevs used to say, I am not here for you to believe. And he used to say, don't trust a bearded fellow. And longer the beard, greater must be your doubt. At least mine has increased a little bit because I had no time also. We all want happiness. Is there anyone here who wants sorrow? Whatever we do, a person marries to be happy. Divorces also to be happier. I don't know. Two opposite things. To be happy. Yet all of us are striving for happiness. And we think that we'll get more and more and more and more of the finite things. Adding up as many finite things, there can be no completeness, no fulfillment. If we want happiness, then happiness can be gained only from that which is complete, infinite, everlasting. Even if we don't understand this infinite or complete, if we want permanent, everlasting happiness, then permanent happiness can be gained not from an impermanent thing. Is it not? It can be got only from that which is permanent. Now, how do we get this permanent happiness? We think that we'll get more and more and more and more of the pleasures or objects of the world, we will be happy. We have tried and tried and tried and tried. It's not that we don't have joys in our life. None of you are that miserable, otherwise you will be depressed maybe. However, that permanent, everlasting happiness, that permanent, everlasting love, what we are searching for is that which is everlasting. Logically, we also say, you know what, if it is permanent happiness, we'll get bored. Permanent pleasures, we will get bored. In fact, Whether you're watching TV or you're shutting down the TV, it is for happiness only. Be very clear about that. Any pleasure has diminishing excitement. But when we give up any pleasure also, it is only to take up something else with the hope of happiness. So once we understand this, then where do we get this happiness? Ramana Maharshi says, Kim Swarupam iti Atma Darshane. When I inquire what is my Swarupa, what is my nature, what is my essential nature, and nature of a thing is that without which that thing has no existence, cannot live, cannot sustain, cannot exist. For example, what is the nature of sugar? Sugar can be brown, sugar can be white, sugar can be in cubes, sugar can be powder, it can be crystalline. And nowadays they have yellow sugar, brown sugar. Those are not the essential nature of sugar. The very nature of sugar is sweetness. Have you ever tasted a bitter sugar? In your dream, maybe. But you wouldn't even in your dream call it sugar. Have you ever seen a dark sun? Have you? Sun is light. Where there is no light, there cannot be any sun. Have you experienced a cold fire? Heat is fire. So, nature of a thing is that which is permanently with it and it cannot be separate from it. Another law also is, what is the nature of something? That nature of yours will never be a burden to you, nor will there be a tendency to give it up. Even now, normally when we have our workshops, say for Make It Happen, so that you can experience it, even if I told you that this book that you have with you, to keep it on your head for the next 5 minutes, that light little book, after 5 minutes you want to take it off, is it not? In the winter it's cold, so you wear this nice coat. But when it is not cold, do you say, cuddly coat? You want to just take it off. Now tell me, how heavy is your head on your neck? 2 kilos? Any doctor? Yeah. If 2 kilos were put on your head, do you know in 5 minutes it will be a burden? Somebody asked, one student got up and told Einstein, can you explain relativity in a simple word? Simple line? All this E is equal to mc square is all confusing. So he said, okay. When you go out with your girlfriend and you are holding her hand, how quickly does time pass by? And when you put your hand on fire, how slow time passes by? This is relativity. Anything unnatural to you, you will immediately try to withdraw from it. It's a burden. Even pleasures over a long period of time becomes a burden. That food, if it is not digested in your stomach, remains there. It is a burden. Your nature is never a burden to you, and there's never a tendency to give it up. At the same time, if by some artificial means something is taken away from its nature, for example, the nature of water is coolness. You apply heat to it, the water becomes hot. But water has to do nothing to cool down. It will naturally tend to coolness by itself. Now ask yourself, what is your nature? If this body was you, then you would not wait to drop it off in sleep. Nor you could drop it off, nor you could go to sleep, nor you'd want to give it up also. Yet when there are sorrows in life, people want to give up this body also or not? See, this body, when illness is there, is a burden to us. But in another note, does anyone say, "Bas, enough of happiness"? Happiness is a burden. The fact that we constantly seek happiness helplessly, it only shows that happiness is our nature. And we cannot be without it. Okay, suppose you say, "Are Nanak dukhya sab sansar." Really speaking, what happiness? Permanent happiness. Happiness comes and goes, but sorrow seems to be permanent in my life. So therefore, sorrow is my nature. But let me ask you one thing. Are you happy with sorrow? If sorrow was your nature, you would not even notice it as sorrow. There would be no tendency to give it up, and you would not even be able to give it up. This itself proves that what we are seeking is our own nature, our own self. That Ananda, happiness, is my own Swarupa. Not only mine. Not only I am Swarupananda. When my Guru gave me the name Swarupananda, he gave me only one mission of life. And he said, "Swarupananda, go and spread your Swarup everywhere." These were his last words to me in Guru Purnima before his Mahasamadhi. Because everyone's Swarupa or nature is Ananda only. And this Ananda, which is your nature, is not that pleasure which decays, therefore avyayah. Abhavaha. This is not something that is created, because something that is created, jo pajo, so bhinas hai. As Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib says, that which is born will die. A pleasure which is born will die. But that which is your own nature, unborn, does not perish. Avyaya abhava. Apurna. All complete. Infinite. Chit. Consciousness. Sukham or Ananda. Bliss. So when you inquire, who am I? You know you are that eternal Sat, Chit, and complete, everlasting, unending, infinite happiness. So even that happiness is discovered only when we inquire, who am I? Now someone will say that, you know what? Okay, happiness is one thing. But I hear something called as nirvana or moksha. Liberation. I want freedom. And what do we understand by freedom also? We think that nobody in this world should tell us something, that is freedom. Nobody should be above me, instructing me, that is freedom. We fight for freedom of our country, we fight for our gender, we fight for from our parents, and we call it freedom. But what is freedom? And when we are bound, even if a bird is kept in a golden cage, fed the most delicious food, do you ever hear the bird singing so happily as you see them as they fly to search for their food in the open vastness of space? I'll tell you, you came here by your own will, is it not? Most of you. Unless your wonderful wife pulled you here and said, "Kuch to akkad seeko." Or other way around, maybe also, If you came here by your will, you came here to be happy or miserable? To be happy. And you kept on coming because you were getting some form of happiness, just listening. That too also on a Saturday evening, where others have gone to party. Why are you here? To be happy only, is it not? Now, even here where you are enjoying yourself, you are benefiting, whatever it may be, suppose I tell you today is the last day. You all say that you love me so much, but I love you even more. And I don't want you to go. Yeah? So today's session, even before I say Purnamada Purnamidam, nobody is allowed to get up from here. But I said this, you're already looking how I can slip off from here. I remember one very well-known speaker who had got very popular. He had come to Hong Kong. And unlike, I tell you, like all our Mahatmas from Chinmaya Mission, start on time, end on time. Yeah. I was told also, please come, because people go to listen, please come. I also went. Luckily, that was the only one evening I didn't have my classes, my talks. So I also went. Heard that he's a very big speaker. Everybody there were attending my classes. They knew me very well. We sat. The time given was 7 o'clock. 7:15. Yeah. 7:30. 7:45, 8. 8:05, 8:10, 8:15, 8:20 he arrives. No doubt a very eloquent speaker. Everybody was enjoying the 10 minutes also. He was very eloquent and he spoke so well. Everybody was enjoying. But now that he has spoken only 10 minutes, he went on 9:15. 9. Yeah. 9:15. 9:30. Many of these ladies have left their homes. Some have come with their husbands. Some their children are at home. Some of the husbands have come without their wife. They will be in big trouble. Where did you go? Some wives who have to go back and look after, they are sitting there. And they are all looking at me. I mean, who will bell the cat? Really speaking, I had no wife to go back to, no children to look after. Yeah. Spiritual knowledge is going on. Satsang is going on. I was enjoying myself. But everybody is looking towards me. When will he end? When will he end? It's not that they were not enjoying. But when will he end? When will he finish? When will he end? They're going on. When will he end? When will he end? Finally, one old woman, who probably anyway she couldn't hear that properly, she was very old. Finally, back must be hurting that poor woman. And he had made sure also that only those who want to sit on the chair will be behind. In front, everybody has to sit down. No? So luckily she was behind in the first row. So quietly she was ready to get up and slip off. And till then most people were enjoying that it's getting late also. They were enjoying themselves. When she went, he said, "Hey Mai, किधर जा रही हो? बैठ जाओ." He scolded her. She was pleading, "I have to go. Maybe someone's son is waiting outside for the car. Where she's going to get a taxi so late?" She said, "Jana." He says, "No. You came by your will, but you are not leaving from here till I get up." And then he says, "When I went to Dubai, my session went on till 1 o'clock at night." So, I want to speak. You suffer if you have to suffer. But someone told me just now, he said, people are delaying you. Everybody wants to say, "Swamiji, 1 minute, Swamiji, 1 minute, Swamiji, this." "Arey Baba, I'm getting late." And we are not late. Say, "Swamiji, so much love." Love means not doing what we want, but doing what my beloved wants. So, what is freedom? They had come there. But the moment he said, "None of you can get up," his most interesting discourses, his humor, his logic, his clarity, I tell you, nobody was listening. Everybody was restless. Now why? Because they do not know when they can get out. And he told the organizers, "Close the door." Now everybody was miserable. Don't worry, I'm not going to take 1 extra minute. See, already you are so worried, is it not? Yeah. Even the thought of bondage, encumbrance, it's an encumbrance to us. But we don't understand limitation, finitude is bondage. Therefore we struggle in this body, wanting to achieve more and more, and we find that, laziness. That's why we become uncomfortable in this body. Because there is something that our spirit is soaring high for. But this weak body, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. When we begin to realize that the limitation, the bondage, is not from the outside world alone, it is from my own equipments. Are we free to tell our mind to do something or not? You want to slim down and you think, "I'm going to go on a diet and from tomorrow no more sweets, no more sugar." That day only somebody will bring, "This is a special foaming," what do you call it? That foam special in Delhi. You know very well. Now also mouth is watering, no? Yeah. That you got. Your intellect says no, 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 no. But finally what happens? What the mind wants, it does. Are we free even to act? And I'll ask you one question. Are we free even to be happy? Is happiness a matter of choice for us? Because our happiness is dependent on something, and therefore we are not even free to be happy. Therefore we are so insecure. We are so attached. We cling. We possess. We even suffocate those who we love because they must be there for my happiness. Bondage means dependence. How do we get this freedom? How do we get freedom from limitation? Because where there is freedom, there is happiness. Again, they are not two different things. Therefore, the means also cannot be different. And therefore, we have chanted it. Bandham muktati.
Bandhamuktati tam param sukham.
Bandhamuktati tam param sukham.
Vindati haji vastudaivikah.
Vindati haji vastudaivikah.
Then there are others who think also that, as long as you live in this body, you live in this world, there cannot be total freedom, there cannot be total happiness. It's only when you die there will be peace and happiness. And there also we have a doubt. May he rest in peace. May he rest in peace. But now this is a very beautiful verse where he says, Bandha mukti atitam. Beyond both bandha and mukti. Beyond bondage and even liberation. Hare? Beyond bondage and even beyond liberation. Yes. Bandha muktim atitam vindati iha jiva. Here itself, this living being, not post-mortem. There's no guarantee. And if we can't be happy now, how can we guarantee our future to be happy? And we want happiness now or we want it tomorrow? We want to be happy in this life or have a guarantee that suffer in this life so that in the kingdom of heaven you can enjoy. No guarantee. And why should I suffer here? I want happiness here and now, iha. And we want liberation after death, or we want to be free here. So, vindati iha jivaha tu daivikaha. That divine jiva, and daivika means one who has all the noble qualities, virtues of discrimination, dispassion, calmness of mind, single-pointedness of mind, liberation of the desire for liberation, one who has served the world, one who gives more than what he takes, such a divine jiva, who has inquired as to who am I, what is the nature of truth, and found it. Such a divine jiva, here itself in this life attains that parama sukha, that supreme happiness, which is beyond both bondage and liberation. Again, I'm reminded of one very beautiful, hilarious, but very, very pertinent story which will make this idea very clear. In the mountains, the only means of communication is the load-bearing mules. No tractor can go, no helicopter can go. So they have mules to carry provisions from place to place. And mule, it's a hybrid between a donkey and a horse. And very strong animal, very sturdy animal. And yet, that animal has to be led like a donkey. And these muleteers, when they go from place to place, and in the mountains, those who have been to Simla, Kasauli, wherever you go, or even to Siddhbadi, whenever you go to this mountainous area, when the weather will change in 15-20 minutes, or sometimes even in a few minutes, weather can change. Therefore, it's very important that these muleteers reach from one resting place, safe place, to another resting place, say a dharamshala or an ashram, somewhere where they can rest. Otherwise, they could be stranded in the middle of the mountains, landslides are possible, wild animals are possible. So this muleteer was taking 3 mules with him, and suddenly the weather changed. But he has walked that path many times, and he knew that nearby there is no dharamsala till he reaches the next dharamsala, that there is an ashram, a small monastery. So he went there. They were living in their little huts. So he went up to them and said, "May I stay here for the night?" They said they lived in small little huts. There's only place for one person to sleep in. He said, "Yes, you can stay here." He said, "Can I keep my mules here? Because if they're wandering outside, some mountain leopard will come and devour it." They said, "Yes, by all means." Now, this muleteer doesn't know where he has to camp for the night. So therefore, on each mule, he carries a peg, so that there is no, somewhere there is, in the mountains, there are not even trees to tie the mule with it. And the mule is not tied, it will wander away into the forest and may be eaten up by some wild animal. So they carry a peg. So he removed the peg from the back, removed the load from the mule, took off the peg. The rope is tied on the peg, untied the rope, hit the peg on the ground with the hammer he was carrying, and then tied the rope to the peg and tied the rope around the neck of the mule. And he has a language with which he communicates with the mule, and he says, and the mule sat down. Now once the mule sits down, till he is made to stand, he will sit there. He is not going to move. So he can go and sleep peacefully. Then he goes to another mule, does the same thing, removes the peg, hits the peg to the ground, ties the rope on the peg, ties the rope to the neck of the mule, and says, the mule sits down. But the third one, somewhere the mule has dropped the peg. Now he doesn't have a peg, he doesn't have a rope. He could tie him anywhere to some veranda of the ashram, but he needs a rope, because once the mule sits down, it will not get up till it is woken up. Now there was no peg nor a rope. So he patted on the mule and said, sit down. But the mule is looking at him. How can I sit down? Why? Because there is no peg, there is no rope. How can I sit down? Yeah. Just like us. How can I worship? Today the flowers have not come. Yeah. Therefore I can't meditate. He said, again the mule is not sitting down. Now he knows that once the mule sits down, He's not going to get up. Rope or no rope. But his mule is not sitting down. So he said, well, if he's not sitting down, at least let me tie him to some tree or something. So he went inside. The Mahatmas were just about to go to sleep. And he said, would you have some rope to tie my mule? They said, here we are here to untie the mind. Where will we have a rope? He went again trying to bring the mule to sit down. But then so came to the Mahatma and said, please help me. I don't know what to do. This mule will not sit down and will wander into the forest, will be harmed by some wild animal. I can't sleep. So he said, how did the other mule sit down? So he said, I hit the peg to the ground, tied the rope to the peg, tied the rope to the neck of the mule. And what did you do? I said, and the mule sits down. So he said, go and tell the mule, and he'll sit down. Because that's the instruction to the mule. He said, but that's exactly what I'm doing, but he's not sitting down. He says, then go, hit the peg on the ground, tie the rope to the peg, tie the rope to the neck of the mule, and what do you say? The mule will sit down. But he said, but there is no peg, that's why I have come to you, there is no rope. What peg will I hit to the ground and what, or nail to the ground, and what will I tie to the neck? He said, go and nail the peg which is not there. Tie the rope which is not there. And tie it to the neck of the mule which is not there. But there is no peg. Yes. Go and put the peg which is not there and tie it with the rope which is not there. Mahatma's word. They know what mantra they give. Tumro mantra vibhishan mana Lankeshwar bhai sab jagah jana. Huh? What is impossible by the words of the saints and sages? So he went, pretended to take a peg, untie the rope from the peg, hit the peg to the ground, pretended to tie the rope and on the mule's neck and says, and the mule looks and says, what a donkey of a master do I have? How could I sit down without the peg and the rope? And nicely sat down. Anyway, next day, early morning, he got up while the rishis, the saints were in their meditation. He thought he has lost time. He should cover time early. So he went there and of course, he removed the peg from the ground of the first mule, untied the rope, removed it from the neck of the mule and said, that is to sit down. And the mule got up, went to the other donkey, removed the peg, untied the rope and said what? The mule got up. But the third one, there was neither a rope nor a peg. And he's telling him, the mule is not getting up. How can I get up when I'm tied to the rope? He pushes the mule because once it gets up, nothing. Finally goes, waits for the Mahatma to get up his meditation and goes to the Mahatma and he says that mule is not getting up. He said, how did the other mules get up? He said, I unpegged the peg, I untied the rope from the peg and untied the rope from the neck of the mule and said, the mule rose up. So he said, do the same with the third mule. Untie the peg, remove the rope and say what? How quickly you learn the language of the mules. One verse of Upadesh Sar can I hear? In our own language? He said, but the mule will not get up. He says, unpeg the peg which is
Not there.
untie the rope
Which is not there.
from the donkey which is
Which is not there.
and he goes and does that and says what? Ga 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 ga. And the donkey gets up and the mule gets up and looks at his master. Treats me so badly. And Gurudev will say, in the same way, you all have come here to be liberated. Ga 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 ga. Infinite freedom and happiness is your own true nature. What is the Guru's job? To remove the peg, which is
Not there.
untie the rope,
Which is not there.
not there, and make you awake. By what? Mano buddhya hankar chittaninam. It's all ga 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 ga. Na muktir na bandha chidananda rupaha shivoham shivoham. But we are grateful to that Guru who removed the peg which was not there. The rope and untied the rope which was not there. And I couldn't remove it because it was not there. And yet he made the impossible possible. And his sweet little words, ga 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 ga, we realize, bandha muktati tam param sukham vindati haji astu daivikaha. And the last verse, Hare, but if it is such a great gain, it would be post-mortem if it was freedom that we had to free ourselves from something. If bondage was our nature, we could never be free. Bondage itself is because of our delusion. We think we are bound. We identify falsely because of our ignorance. And when that ignorance is removed, we find we are ever free. Now, is it that simple? Because to achieve anything great, we have to do great austerities. So what? No tapa, no fasting, no sitting for meditation for many, many hours, not going to some cave and holding your hand up like this. Ramana Maharshi says in this final verse,
Aham apetakam nij vibhanakam.
Aham apetakam nij vibhanakam.
Mahadidam tapo ramanavagiyam.
Mahadidam tapo ramanavagiyam.
Guru Nanak Sahib has said, तीरथ नावा जेतिस भावा विन बाने के नाहि करी जेति सिरत उपाई वेखा विन कर्मा के मिले लही. In devotion, if I have to win the grace of the Lord, then whether it is these long pilgrimages or bath, fasting or austerities, only if it pleases Him. And what pleases my beloved is my happiness, my freedom. Otherwise, there is no need. I do anything if it pleases my Guru, If it doesn't pleases my Guru, it is not worth doing it. As simple a formula as that. Yeah. Here Ramana Maharshi says, the purpose of all tapas, austerities, sadhanas, knowledge, study of scriptures, going to pilgrimages, its purpose is to drop this ego. But Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib says very beautifully, Tirat varat ardhan karat man mein kare guman nanak nefal jatud ju kunchan isnan. He says, you do all these pilgrimages, fasting, not that you should not do it. They have a purpose, but if that purpose is not fulfilled, and the purpose of all our practices is to drop even your work as service, whether it is your austerities, not to go and declare to people, do you know, I meditate 4.5 hours daily. Or you know, I'm a Haji, I went, Char Dham Yatra. If we do all these, at the end of it, we develop even a larger ego than Ju Kunchan Isnan. You have to see. Elephants, they come and have bath for an hour in the water. And the moment it comes out of the water, it rolls on the sand and dirties itself. Of course, there's a scientific reason for it, but poetically, philosophically, you do all these sadhanas. Even many, many years you have studied. But man mein kare guman. That is the greatest tapas. That is the greatest austerity. Aham apetakam. Where this I, ego falls off. Nija vibhanakam. In the realization of this ever self-existing, shining self. Mahad idam tapaha. This is the greatest. And if it can be done simply, why do you have to go through all the difficulties? This self-inquiry by which instantly the ego dissolves. And the ego cannot bear your scrutiny. Even your mundane pride, if you question yourself, of what are you proud of? There's nothing that you have done. In Punjabi there's a saying, "Tune kya kita? Jo kuch kita, maine kita." Right? What have we done? This is the greatest tapas, Ramana Vagyam. And here Ramana says, even though these are teachings of Lord Shiva, Ramana with his own direct experience says, this is the words of Ramana. His direct realization. So with this beautiful Upadesh Sar, the essence of the vast teachings of the scriptures have been summarized. The entire path and the goal, the different means and the final goal in these short 30 verses. Read them regularly with the commentary. Guruji's commentary on it is very, very beautiful. Same way as we have unfolded it. Very systematic and very simple to understand. So this beautiful Upadesh Sar, and may this limited ego fall. When I say may, I'm not doubting. That drop this ego and know your infinite self. My gratitude to all the organizers, sponsors, and of course, as always, the entire Delhi audience, which has always been, and I'm not just saying it, everywhere audience are inspiring. But there's something special about Delhi audience. Yeah. And you must have seen and you have known over the years that I've always delighted sharing this knowledge with the people in Delhi. Of course, everywhere, I'm not saying that, but there's something special here. So, thank you for giving me this opportunity again. And all those who have served, what names can we take? We know from different places, the smallest of jobs to make this place, suitable for our learning, even from the security guards to the ushers, to the people at the books department, who are all behind the scenes working. There's so many of them. But Jin Sevya Tin Paya Man. We do not have to even say a thing. So express my love, my feeling, and Gurudev's blessings are with us that we have gained this knowledge. Now only Atma Kripa is necessary. Ishwar Kripa, we have such a great Gurudev who gave us this knowledge. Atma Kripa is that in this life itself, let us make this ego an offering to him. Nanak Das Sada Kurbani. The last words in the morning, and the last words in the evening. This ego, surrender it. Through direct knowledge or with love and devotion. Is there anything to say?
Pujya Swami Swarupananda Ji, our Revered Acharya, Swami Prakashananda Ji, Swami Durgeshananda Ji, and my dear friends, Hari Om. In her welcome address, Mrs. Saran had said that we look forward to 6 days of bliss. Yes, and I'm sure you will all agree with me, we have experienced this bliss. Swamiji has been like a wizard with a magic wand. Every morning and evening, he came and cast a spell. I think even right now you're all spellbound. And he kept us mesmerized. For that little time, every morning and evening, there was absolute magic in the air. All our problems and worries came to rest. The melodious sutras of the Upadesh Sara was unraveled with such dexterity. And together with the lyrical notes of the Guru Granth Sahib, Swamiji made us delve deep into inquiry, which is needed to attain that infinite freedom. What are we really seeking? How to calm the mind? And finally, how to go beyond the mind itself? But before we take this giant leap, what are the preparations needed? And how do we go about it? How should we live? All this and more has been served to us on a platter. It comes from Swamiji's deep understanding and love of both the Vedantic text and the Sikh scriptures. We have been given so much in such a short period. Now it is up to us to contemplate on what we have heard, so that when Swamiji comes back here the next year, we are ready for more. On behalf of Chinmaya Mission and all present here, I thank Swamiji for these amazing and exhilarating 6 days. Our heartfelt gratitude to you, Swamiji.
This is called as bondage. But in love, who doesn't mind being bond?
Thank you, Swamiji. In organizing this event, we have a huge team working together. True to our pledge, we have stood as one family. The entire staff of CCWU has worked tirelessly and given more than their best. A loud round of applause, please. A very big thank you to each and every one of them. A special thanks to Ms. Famir Kakkar, who has put up such a beautiful Yagnashala for us. Last, but most importantly, a very big round of applause for the volunteers who are the backbone of any yagna. I thank each and every one of you, dear friends, who have come here. Your presence and your interest encourages us to do more to spread the word and keep alive these sacred texts. Swamiji, we hope very soon Swamiji will announce the dates for the next Yagna in Delhi.
Same dates always over the years, isn't it?
Sorry, Swamiji.
Same dates over the years.
Thank you, Swamiji. So we all can mark our calendars right now. Swamiji will definitely be here on the 15th of February.
That's not the date.
So thank you all once again, and we will meet again next year, same time, same place. But in between, we have all our classes which will keep going for 1 year. So we hope we will see you all soon. May Puja Gurudev's grace and blessings be on us. Thank you very much.
Let us conclude with a Shanti part for the well-being of everyone. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. As you go out, please collect your prasad from the different doors, and whatever offering you have brought, please put it there.